The wind howled across the scrap fields of Delta V Colony, carrying with it the sharp sting of metal dust and the faint stench of oil and decay. Scavenger Cole Bennett walked alone, boots crunching over frozen dirt and broken tack. His respirator clicked softly with each breath as he scanned the mounds of trash with his goggles. Another useless day. He reached the wreck of a collapsed cargo freighter. Its side was torn open like a can of beans. Perfect place for shelter. Cole climbed up the rusted edge and dropped down inside. Flashlight beams slicing through the gloom. That's when he heard it. Rustle soft. Quick like claws against metal. He froze. His hand went to the sidearm on his belt, but he didn't draw. Instead, he lowered his light, moving slow, silent. Another sound, a whimper this time, human-like. Maybe a child. He turned the beam and nearly dropped the light. 2 figures, crouched in the corner. Small, thin, alien, covered in layers of filthy cloth and plastic wrapping, like they were trying to become invisible. One of them, the smaller one, had huge glowing eyes and trembling hands. The older one stood fast, bare feet scraping against the floor, and held her arms out like she was shielding the younger. Her voice cracked like broken glass. "Don't hurt us, please. We'll do whatever you want. Just food." Cole blinked, heart slowing. They weren't dangerous. They were desperate. He slowly lowered the flashlight, letting the beam fall beside them, not on them. "I'm not gonna hurt you," he said, voice low. "I'm just a scavenger. I'm not here to take anything from you." The older one didn't relax. The younger began to cry, silent tears falling down dirty cheeks. Cole reached into his coat and pulled out a vacuum-sealed protein bar. He unwrapped it halfway and set it gently on the floor, sliding it toward them. "Here, take it. You need it more than I do." The girls looked at it like it was treasure from another world. The older one didn't move, so the younger one did. She scrambled forward and snatched the bar with both hands, tearing it open and devouring it like a wild animal. She didn't even chew, just swallowed in chunks. The older one finally stepped closer and caught her sister's hand. "Slow down, Lyra," she whispered. "You'll choke." Cole watched them, stunned. Their clothes weren't even real clothing, just torn. Insulation foam, packaging wrap, and scraps of curtain fabric. Their skin was bruised, arms scarred, collars missing, but the marks around their necks told him they'd once worn chains. Slaves, probably escaped seas from one of the deep-sown labor camps. "How long you been hiding here?" he asked softly. The older girl didn't answer. She just stared at him with eyes that had seen too much pain, too much betrayal. "We don't have names," she said coldly. "They were taken from us." Cole's jaw clenched. He hated this world sometimes. No, not the world. The people who ran it. "I'm Cole," he offered. "You don't have to give me your names. Just let me help you." The older girl said nothing, but she didn't threaten him either. That was something. "Got a small shelter nearby," Cole said. "Warm, dry, and I've got more food. Not much, but enough." "Why?" The girl whispered. "Because," he replied. "No one helped my sister when she needed it. She died cold and hungry. I won't let that happen again." Lyra looked up at him with wide, glowing eyes. A crumb still stuck to her lip. "You had a sister." Cole nodded slowly. The older girl met his gaze for the first time. "If we come, you won't sell us." He didn't even answer with words. He just turned, walked to the opening of the freighter, and waited. A few seconds passed, then soft footsteps followed. The walk back was quiet. Cole led them across the scrap field, past the boneyard towers of old mining mechs and rusted supply pods. His shelter was built inside the frame of an overturned Land Cruiser. The inside was surprisingly neat patched blankets, an old heater, a cracked but working stove unit, and a small cot. He gestured. "Make yourselves comfortable." The girls just stood at the door, too stunned to move. Finally, Cole pulled a thermal blanket from a bin and offered it gently. Lyra reached for it, and then flinched like he'd raised a weapon. Her sister pulled her back protectively. Cole didn't force it. He just set the blanket down and stepped away. He opened a drawer and pulled out a water pack and another bar, left them on the floor and backed off again. This was going to take time, but he'd wait. He always did. Then, just as he turned away to give them space, he heard it stump. Cole turned fast. Lyra had collapsed. She lay on the floor, eyes fluttering, her tiny chest rising fast. Fever, malnourished. "Damn it," Cole muttered and ran for his med kit. As he knelt by her, the older girl dropped beside him, terrified. "Don't take her." "I'm not," he snapped. "I'm saving her." He pressed the scanner to Lyra's head. Temperature, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. "Dangerous. She's burning up," Cole whispered. "She needs real help." The older girl's lip quivered. "There's no help for people like us." Cole met her eyes and said, calmly but firmly, "There is now." The inside of Cole's makeshift shelter was quiet, except for the faint hum of the heater, and the soft gasps coming from the alien girl curled in the cot. Lyra, to her tiny frame, was buried under 3 layers of thermal blankets. She shivered in her sleep, sweat pouring from her forehead as the fever battled her fragile body. Her sister, taller, older, and visibly worn down, sat beside the bed, watching her with eyes that hadn't closed in days. Cole crouched nearby, checking the temperature on his handheld scanner again. It had dropped slightly. Good. He glanced at the older girl. "She's responding. Still weak, but stable." The girl didn't respond, just kept staring at her sister. Her arms were wrapped tightly around her knees, her jaw locked like she didn't trust even herself to speak. Cole understood. Trust wasn't something she'd been given the luxury of. "I made soup," he said quietly. "There's not much meat, but it's warm." The girl didn't move. Cole didn't push. He placed a bowl on the small crate beside her and stepped away, giving her space again. "I don't want anything from you," he said softly, almost to himself. "Just eat, heal, that's all." Few minutes passed in silence, then the spoon clinked softly against the bowl. She ate in small, careful bites, watching him the whole time like a hunted animal afraid of a trap. Cole didn't look back. He just adjusted the fuel cell on the heater and leaned against the wall. Finally, she spoke. "My name is Sari." Cole looked up. Sari didn't meet his gaze, but her voice was clearer now. "She's my sister. Lyra, we escaped from an off-world labor dome." He nodded. "I figured." "They used to beat her," Sari whispered, voice trembling. "Because she was slow, because she cried. So I made them hit me instead." Cole's throat tightened. He swallowed hard. Sari looked at him now, sharp, suspicious. "No one helps girls like us, not unless they want something. So what do you want?" Cole straightened, but kept his tone calm. "I want you two to live. That's it." Sari narrowed her eyes. "That's not how the galaxy works." "No," Cole agreed, "but maybe it should." For a long moment, she just stared at him like she was trying to figure out whether to cry or scream. Then a small voice from the cot. "Sari, I saw Mama." Sari turned quickly. "You're awake?" Lyra opened her glowing eyes, dazed. "She was in the dark. She told me to follow the warmth." Sari brushed her fingers across her sister's forehead. "You followed it, Lyra. You're safe now." Cole watched quietly. This was why he had taken the risk. Not because they were aliens, but because they were children, and no child deserved to be treated like trash. Later that evening, Cole prepared another small meal. He had ration packs, dry goods, and enough filtered water to last a few more days if they stretched it. He caught Sari watching him as he stirred. "You're not a soldier," she said suddenly. "No." "Not a smuggler?" "Nope." "Then why are you armed? Why do you know how to scan fevers? You're not just some junk scavenger." Cole paused, then smirked faintly. "Used to be fleet med tech. Quit after my unit left starving colonists." Behind, her expression softened slightly, then hardened again. "So why us?" Cole shrugged. "Because the universe failed you already. I won't add to it." She looked away, like his words hurt more than helped. A loud bang startled them both. Lyra shrieked and curled under the blanket. Cole grabbed his sidearm and moved to the entrance. He peeked outside. Nothing but wind. A sheet of scrap metal had been blown down from the wall. He holstered the weapon and sighed. But when he turned back, Lyra was curled tighter, whimpering. And when Cole stepped forward to calm her, she flinched. Hard like his presence alone was pain. He froze. Siri jumped between them like a shield. "Don't touch her." "I wasn't. She thought you'd hit her." Siri snapped. That's what they did when she screamed. Every time she made noise, they punished her. Cole stepped back instantly, palms up. "I'm sorry," he said. "I didn't mean to scare her." Sari glared. "Then don't move. Fast around her. Don't raise your voice. Don't even look at her too long. She still sees monsters in the shadows." Cole nodded slowly. "I'll go slow," he promised. "She doesn't need kindness," Sari muttered. "She needs safety." "She needs both," Cole said quietly. Sari hesitated, and then sat back down beside her sister, wrapping her arms around the girl. That night, Cole slept on the floor. He could hear Sari humming softly to Lyra, a lullaby in a language he didn't know. But the rhythm was clear. It was a song of loss, a song of comfort. When the heater clicked off for the night cycle, he got up quietly, adjusted the fuel again, and placed another blanket near them without a word. Lyra was asleep. Sari wasn't, as Cole turned to go back to his corner. Sari whispered, "You could have sold us. You still could." "I won't," he said, not turning around. "You don't? No, who's after us? I don't care." Sari's voice was quieter now. "Then you're a fool, human." Cole just lay down, eyes staring at the dark ceiling. "Maybe," he whispered back, "but even fools have hearts." Asterisk morning broke with a pale, dusty glow leaking through the cracks in the shelter's ceiling. Cole stood outside, letting the chill wind slap his face awake. The world was quiet this early, no scavenger traffic. No drones, no voices. Just rusted metal, forgotten machines, and the ghosts of a colony left behind. Inside, things were different. For the first time, Lyra was sitting up on the cot. Her hair was still tangled, her cheeks hollow, but her eyes had color. She sipped warm water slowly, like it might vanish if she blinked too long. Cole stepped in, brushing snowflakes from his shoulders. "Morning." Lyra flinched a little, but didn't curl away this time. Progress.serr. I stood protectively by her sister, arms crossed. Watching Cole like always, he smiled and held up a cracked datapad. "Found an old art app on this. You can draw with your finger. Wanna try?" Lyra blinked. Her hand trembled as she reached for it. She tapped the screen, then again. A line appeared, a glowing, shaky stroke of color. Her lips parted in wonder. She looked up at Cole like she didn't understand what magic he had given her. "Keep it," he said softly. Sari tilted her head. "Why are you doing this? Giving us things? Helping us?" "'Cause I can," he answered simply. "That's not a reason," she shot back. "No, it's not." but it's enough. By midday, Lyra had drawn 3 things: a stick figure of Cole with messy hair, a strange 4-legged creature with big ears, and what looked like 2 stars holding hands. Cole didn't ask questions. He didn't need to. That evening, he made a small pot of soup with crushed grain, salt, and dry root paste. He served the girls first, then sat on the floor and ate quietly from his own tin bowl. Sari stared at him. "You didn't take the bigger share." Cole raised an eyebrow. "You're hungry. I'm fine." Most humans in the camps ate first, then gave us leftovers, or nothing. I'm not most humans. Sari said nothing, but for the first time, her shoulders lowered, just a little. That night, while Lyra dozed peacefully for once, Cole stepped outside to check his solar charge. The sky above shimmered with faint streaks of radiation. He checked the readings on his scanner. Everything looked normal, but something gnawed at his gut. Too quiet, too still. He glanced toward the East Ridge where junk hills formed jagged silhouettes and saw a flicker of light, a blue pulse, barely noticeable, but it was there. He turned sharply and went back inside. Sari looked up as he entered. "Something wrong." Cole kept his voice calm. "Maybe. May have been a scout drone. Could have been nothing." Her face changed instantly. Fear. She stood up so fast the cot creaked. "They're looking for us. I don't know that yet." "They always send drones first," she said. "They find, then they take." Cole narrowed his eyes. "Who?" Sari hesitated. Then she sat down slowly, like her legs gave out beneath her. "They're not slavers. Not anymore. They're cleaners. They find runaways, defective ones, and erase them, quietly. No questions." "Defective?" he echoed. "You're not defective." "To them, we are," Sari said bitterly. "We didn't obey. We ran. That's enough." Cole's fists clenched. "I won't let them take you." "You don't even know what they are," she snapped. "You're just one man. One man can still fight." She looked at him. Really looked at him. "You mean that?" Every word. Lyra stirred in her sleep. She mumbled something. Sari leaned over to listen. Her face paled. "What did she say?" Cole asked. "She said the Watchers are close. That she saw red eyes in the dark." Cole stood and checked his sidearm. His voice dropped to a low whisper. "We move at dawn." The next morning, Cole guided them through the wrecked passages beneath the colony's old water system. The tunnels were damp, half-flooded, but safe from sky drones as they walked. Lyra tugged at his sleeve. He looked down. She pointed at a rusted pipe leaking steam. "It whistles like the toy we used to have," she said quietly. Sari looked shocked. "You remembered that?" Lyra nodded. "It was blue, with stars on it." Sari's eyes filled with tears. Cole smiled. "Memories. Coming back." "Not all," Lyra said, still holding the datapad. "But it feels warm now. In here." She tapped her chest. Cole's voice cracked. "That's called hope. Lyra." She blinked. "Is it safe to have it?" Sari answered this time. "Not always. But maybe now, maybe here. It is." By midday, they reached an old communications bunker Cole used for backup supplies. Hidden beneath scrap and locked tight with codes only he knew. It was dark, but safe. Sari stepped in and paused. She looked around the room, which had 2 dusty mattresses, sealed water pouches, and even a cracked mirror. And for the first time, she smiled. It was faint. Just a twitch at the corner of her mouth. But it was real. "You've done all this," she whispered, "and still asked for nothing." Cole shrugged. "If kindness needs payment, it's not kindness." Sari stared at him, like he was a puzzle she couldn't solve. "You confuse me, human?" Cole smirked. Good means I'm doing it right. But behind his smile, he was worried, because that light last night, it wasn't just a flicker. It was a signal, and whoever had sent it, they were coming. The wind shrieked across the deadlands like a wounded beast. Cole's shelter, once warm, once safe, was now cold and silent. The fire was out. The blankets were gone. And so were the girls. Gone without a word. No sound of struggle. No broken lock. Just ... Missing, he found the note scratched into the metal floor with a piece of circuit wire. 3 trembling words. We bring danger. Cole stared at it, jaw locked, his breath fogging in the freezing air. They'd run. Not because they didn't trust him, but because they did. Enough to protect him by leaving. Damn it, he whispered, slamming his fist into the wall. Stupid, brave girls. He moved fast. Within minutes, he had his gear strapped on, thermal coat, scanner goggles, sidearm, med pack. He grabbed the last ration bar, stuffed it into his pocket, and stormed into the rising storm. Snow fell sideways in the wind. The world was gray. Visibility dropped fast, but he had a trail, tiny footprints in the frost. One heavier, one smaller. Slipping, slowing, they didn't get far. Not in this cold, not barefoot, 4 hours earlier. Siri gripped Lyra's hand tightly as they crept through the snow-choked ruins of the water tunnel. Her legs ached. Her breath came out in clouds. Lyra coughed, barely able to walk. She was burning again, fever rising. But they couldn't stay. Couldn't risk Cole's life. He'd already given them too much. Sari felt her throat tighten. She didn't want to go. Didn't want to run again. But the thought of those red-eyed hunters finding him because of them, she couldn't let that happen. They moved through the narrow pipe systems, crawling sometimes, slipping others. The colony's skeleton groaned around them. The wind screamed. Louder above, and then Lyra collapsed. Sari dropped beside her, pulling her sister close. No, Lyra, stay with me. I'm tired, Lyra whispered. You can't stop now. But her body was trembling, burning. Sari looked around wildly. No shelter, no light. Just frost, rust, and shadows. I'm sorry, she whispered. I thought I could get you somewhere safe. I thought I could protect you. Now Doc Cole moved fast, following the prints and broken trail. He found a small piece of cloth snagged on twisted metal. Then a smudge of blood. Then a faint heat signature on his scanner. He broke into a sprint. Minutes later, he saw them. Siri sat curled in the shadow of a ruined turbine, holding Lyra close. Her arms were wrapped around her sister like a shield. She wasn't crying. She was just still, frozen by the cold. Or fear. Cole dropped to his knees beside them. Sari, she jerked, startled as wide with disbelief. You how? You left a trail, even a blind drone could follow, he growled. What were you thinking? We had to protect you. I never asked you to. You didn't have to. You were kind. People who are kind die first. Cole didn't argue. Instead, he checked Lyra's pulse. It was faint. Too faint. She's burning up, he muttered. We have to move. Now. Sari shook her head. She can't walk. Then I'll carry her. And he did. He lifted Lyra into his arms, wrapped her tight in his thermal coat, and started back, Suri trailing close behind. They moved through the storm like ghosts. Back at the bunker, the heater was already running. Cole had activated the backup unit via remote when he realized they were gone. He rushed Lyra to the cot and hooked her to a basic 4-patch, injecting stabilizers into her bloodstream. Sari stood nearby, teeth chattering. Cole handed her dry clothes, a blanket, and a hot cup of broth. She didn't speak. Just watched as he worked fast, calm, steady. Finally, she said, Why did you come? He didn't look at her. Because you're not disposable, and I don't leave people behind. You could have been caught. I wasn't. Sari stepped closer. You don't even know what they'll do to you if they catch you helping us. I don't care. She stared at him like he'd grown two heads. You don't care. I care about you, he said simply. That's different. Sari dropped into a chair and buried her face in her hands. I don't understand you, she whispered. You make no sense. You don't want power, or payment, or control. You just help. Maybe that's the point, he said. Maybe you deserve to be helped. No strings attached. A long silence passed. Then Lyra stirred. Her eyes fluttered. Open, weak, but aware. Sari rushed to her side. I'm here, she whispered. I'm here, little one. Cole stepped back and gave them space, but his hand stayed near his weapon. Because while the girls were safe for now, that flicker from the drone last night, it hadn't been the last. Somewhere in orbit above the planet, a cloaked scout ship hovered in silence. Inside, a tall figure in black armor tapped a screen. The drone's last recorded image flickered a blurry outline of a human, carrying two alien escapees. The figure tilted its head. Found you, it said coldly, then it marked the coordinates and began descent. Asterisk. The first warning came as a soft vibration through the floor. Cole froze. His fingers hovered over the heater switch. His ears tuned to the faint hum beneath them. That sound wasn't natural. It's not in this part of the colony ruins. Not unless a dropship. Low altitude, stealth model. He turned, fast. Sari, get Lyra up. Now, Sari blinked, confused. She's still weak. We don't have time. Above them, the ceiling gave a low groan as dust sprinkled down like warning rain. Cole rushed to the supply crate, yanked out his emergency pack, and slung a compact pulse rifle across his shoulder. He hadn't used it in years, but it was still clean, still loaded. Sari held Lyra, confused and frightened. Who's coming? Cole's jaw tightened. Not slavers, not soldiers. Worse. Outside, the air shimmered. A ripple of distortion passed through the sky as a sleek black vessel uncloaked and settled gently onto the metal ridge above the shelter. The ship hissed steam. Its side cracked open, and he stepped out. Tall, armor-plated. Skin like onyx stone, eyes glowing like molten coals. The bounty hunter, known only as Varnick. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. His very presence said, "Everything I've come to collect." He held a scanning gauntlet in one hand and a modified restraint launcher in the other. His boots didn't. Crunch, they glided, like death on silent wings. Inside, Cole had already opened the hidden tunnel door under the cot. Sari, take her. Go 2 levels down. There's a backup exit to the filtration zone. Stay hidden. She shook her head. No, I'm not leaving you. You're not, he said firmly. You're protecting her. That's the only thing that matters. But Sari, his voice softened. Please. She stared at him and nodded with one last look. She disappeared into the dark passage below. Carrying Lyra in her arms, Cole sealed the hatch behind them and turned toward the main entrance. He had no illusions. This wasn't going to be a clean fight. The door burst inward. Metal flew. Varnick stepped through the smoke, unfazed by the blaster aimed at his chest. Give them to me, he said, voice like gravel soaked in venom, and I'll let you crawl away. Cole steadied his weapon. They're not yours. They're property. They're people. Varnick didn't flinch. Then you'll die with them. He moved too fast. Talk, Cole, dove, rolled, and fired blast striking Varnick's shoulder. The armor flared but didn't crack. Varnick returned fire. A restraint net launched across the room. Cole barely dodged, slamming into a wall. Wind knocked out of him. He gasped, reached for his sidearm, and shot again, this time aiming for the floor. The explosion from the fuel line sent Varnick crashing back into the doorframe. Sparks flew. Smoke filled the room. Cole scrambled to his feet, ribs aching. "You want them," he growled. "You'll have to go through me." Varnick stood, brushing ash from his armor. "I was hoping you'd say that." Down below, in the emergency tunnel, Sari held Lyra close. The little girl stirred weakly. "Where's Cole?" she whispered. Sari hesitated. "He's delaying them." Lyra blinked. "Is he scared?" Sari swallowed hard. "Maybe, but he's not running." Lyra reached out and held Sari's hand. "We shouldn't have left him before." "I know." A loud explosion echoed above them. Sari flinched. She had to do something. She couldn't let him fight alone above. Cole was bleeding. His left arm hung uselessly. His pulse rifle was a twisted hunk of metal. He had one charge left in his sidearm. No more tricks. Varnick stood over him, unharmed, weapon raised. "This is what happens to heroes." "The hunter," hissed Cole, spat blood. "Then I'll die being one." But just as Varnick took aim, a scream from behind Seri. She dropped from the side platform with a broken pipe in her hand, slamming it into Varnick's back. The hunter staggered, surprised. Cole surged forward, using the moment to dive and drive his blade between the armor joints in Varnick's side. A howl of rage. Varnick swung wildly, knocking Sari into the wall, but Cole was already dragging her out the side. Passage. Smoke. Sparks. Alarms. The whole bunker was unstable now. They burst into the daylight. Cold wind burning their faces. Lyra was waiting outside, trembling. When she saw them, she ran straight into Cole's good arm. "You came back," she whispered. Cole knelt, pulled both sisters close. "I told you," he said. "You don't run alone anymore." Behind them, the bunker exploded. The shockwave flattened metal and sand alike, and from the smoking wreck, Varnick rose, burned. Angry, still alive. But he didn't pursue. He stood there, watching as they disappeared over the ridge, and he spoke to no one. "I underestimated you, human. I won't make that mistake again." The sun rose slowly over the cracked horizon, casting long golden rays across the ruins of what was once Delta V's trade district. Twisted towers leaned like broken bones against the pale sky, their metal skins flaking under years of storms and silence. But deep inside, the husk of an abandoned security station patched with old tarps and New Hope. Cole worked. His ribs were bruised, his arm stiff and bandaged. But he was alive, and so were they. Sari sat cross-legged near the center, helping Lyra sip warm broth from a canteen lid. The younger girl's cheeks had regained some color. Her fever had dropped. She even smiled when the soup touched her lips. It wasn't just survival anymore. It was recovery. Cole watched quietly as Sari tucked a blanket around Lyra's shoulders. Her movements were slower now, gentler. Not because of fear, but because of care. "You could have left," he said finally. Sari glanced over. "So could you?" He smiled faintly. "Guess we're all fools now." "Maybe," she replied. "But this time, it doesn't feel like a bad thing." Later that morning, Cole rummaged through a box of salvaged tech. He pulled out an ancient projector, a dented thing with cracked lenses and flickering lights. Sari raised an eyebrow. "That a weapon?" "Nope. Something rarer." He tinkered for a few minutes, powered it up, and aimed it at the back wall. A buzzing sound, a flicker, and then color. Movement, sound, an old Earth cartoon burst to life. A goofy creature danced across the dusty wall, making strange faces. Its high-pitched voice singing nonsense. Lyra blinked, then giggled. It was small at first, soft, hesitant. Then, louder. Sari turned in shock. Lyra was laughing, truly laughing. It sounded like a bell chime. After years of silence, Cole leaned back against the wall, smiling wider than he had in months. Told you this world has more than hunger and fear. Sari sat beside her sister, eyes fixed on the dancing character. What is this? Entertainment, Cole replied. A thing people used to do just for joy. She looked at him. Joy? Yeah. You know, fun. Smiling without being afraid. Living without watching your back. Sari looked away, her smile fading. That's not real. Not for people like us. It can be, Cole said gently. You just haven't seen enough of the galaxy yet. Over the next few days, they stayed hidden inside the old security bunker. Cole sealed the doors with reinforced locks, scanned daily for drones, and moved only during low-sky hours. He taught Sari basic field medicine. How to make a splint from scrap. How to hide heat signatures from trackers. How to speak coded words on broken radios. But the most important thing he gave her? Trust, and for Lyra. He gave her colors. Pencils made from old melted wires. Papers from old forms. She filled pages with stars, animals, and stick figures, always 3. 1 tall, 2 small. A family. One night, as wind howled beyond the sealed bunker, Sari finally asked the question, Why do you still care? Cole blinked. About what? Us. We're fugitives. Hunted nothing but problems. You're not problems, he replied. You're people. Survivors. You say that like it means something. It does to me. Sari leaned back. I was raised to believe I was replaceable. A clone batch of 74. If one failed, the next would take her place. Cole stared. She continued, voice steady. Lyra was part of a failed trial. Her batch was labeled emotionally unstable. She was supposed to be terminated. I broke her out. You saved her, Cole said softly. No, I just couldn't let her die crying. Not like that. You gave her something more important than life. What's that? Someone who chose her. Sari looked away, eyes glassy. And now she's laughing, because of cartoons. She's laughing because she's allowed to be a kid again. That night, Lyra crept toward Cole while he dozed near the console. She tugged on his coat. He blinked awake. Hey, kid, can I ask something? Anything. She hesitated. Is it okay if I start calling you something? He smiled. Like what? I don't know. Maybe uncle or something that means safe. Cole's chest tightened. He nodded. Yeah, kid. A cue. You can call me whatever feels right. She hugged him, small arms wrapping tight around his waist, and for a moment, nothing else mattered. Not the hunter in the sky, not the past, just that moment. That warmth, but not far above. Orbiting silently in the upper atmosphere, Varnic's ship remained cloaked dot inside. The hunter replayed a scene over and over again. The human shielding the girls. The explosion, the escape. He stared at the image of Lyra. His scanners blinked red. Subject ALX7B. Unique neural signature detected potential sovereign lineage. Unconfirmed. He narrowed his eyes. The girl wasn't just stolen property. She might be something far more dangerous and valuable. He smiled coldly. Let the human think he's won. A turd. Soon he'll beg me to take her away. Asterisk, the bunker lights flickered once, then went dark. Cole was up instantly. No storm, no wind, no warning. Just blackout. He grabbed the emergency torch and checked the power unit still functional, which meant only one thing: external interference. He looked over his shoulder. Lyra was asleep on the cot, her tiny hand gripping the corner of her sketch pad. Sari stood at the far window, frozen. "Did you feel that?" she whispered. He nodded. Pulse, precision, to clean for natural disruption. Sari's breath caught. "He found us." Cole didn't argue. He strapped on his vest, loaded his sidearm, and slung his backup rifle. Sari moved to Lyra and gently woke her. The girl blinked sleepily. "Is it morning?" "No, little star," Sari whispered. "But we have to go." Cole helped gather the emergency kit and opened the secondary. Tunnel hatch dot, but the second he lifted the latch, a voice echoed inside the chamber. "You've delayed the inevitable." "Human?" "VAR Nick." His voice poured from the intercom, deep and sharp like metal scraping glass. "But I commend your stubbornness. Sadly, it ends now. Send out the property or I reduce this structure to ash." Cole looked at the ceiling. "He's broadcasting." "Through a relay, close, probably above us." Sari's hands shook. "We can't fight him again. Not here. Not this close." Cole turned to her. "You don't have to." He looked at Lyra, then at the cracked panel in the wall. Inside was an old transmitter. A very old one, but powerful. Minutes later, Lyra sat in Cole's chair, staring at the blinking green light. "Just speak here," he told her gently. "Say what's in your heart." She looked confused. To who? To everyone. Across. Nearby systems, pirate channels, and old rebel networks crackled to life. The signal carried low at first, but strong, cutting through silence, like a beam in darkness. And then Lyra's voice spoke. "My name is Lyra. I am not property. I am not defective. I am alive." A pause, and I am afraid. "But I don't want to hide anymore." Outside, Varnick frowned at his screen as strange signals began overlapping his sensors. "This frequency?" he hissed. "Who gave them broadcast access?" He scanned for interference, but what he found was worse. Dozens no hundreds of bouncing pings. Boosted transmissions. Someone was helping her signal bounce, not someone. Many old rebel beacons, hidden sympathizer ships. Civilians? The underground had hurt her, and they were responding. Inside the bunker, Cole pulled the last lever to prime the escape route, but Sari hesitated. "I can't let you do this," she said. "You're risking your life for us again." Cole smiled softly. "No, I'm choosing to stand by you. That's different." Lyra looked up. "We can run again if you want." "You don't have to stay with us." Cole crouched down. "I don't run anymore. I stopped running the day I found two frightened girls hiding in a pile of trash. And they offered me everything they had for a single meal." Tears filled Sari's eyes. Lyra reached up and grabbed his hand. Outside, Varnick's ship began charging its weapons. He locked onto the coordinates. The building glowed in targeting brackets. "Last chance," he said into the com. "Send her out, or be buried with her." But then his scanner blinked red. A new ship entered orbit. Then another, then 10. Old models, rusted, unmarked, but armed, underground ships, all of them broadcasting a message in sync. "The child is under protection of the Pact. Any further aggression will be treated as an act of war." Varnick stepped back from his console. He snarled, outnumbered, and more importantly, exposed. He hissed into the dark. "She isn't just a child." Inside, Cole received the all-clear from his alley's coded transmission. "Shields active," he said. "We're covered." For now, Sari exhaled in disbelief. "How did this happen?" Lyra blinked. "I just talked." "You were heard," Cole said. "Turns out that's all it takes sometimes." They moved again that night, this time not running, but walking, toward a drop zone. A rebel ship descended like a silver hawk in the distance. As Cole helped them board, Sari turned back to him. "You're not coming. I'll meet you on Haven Station," he said. "There's more like you here, still hiding, still afraid. I'm going to find them." Lyra grabbed his hand. "Promise." He knelt and smiled. "Promise." Sari hesitated, then hugged him. Tightly. "Thank you for seeing us," she whispered. He pulled back. "Thank you for staying." As a ship rose into the stars, Cole stood beneath the night sky, a lone figure watching hope take flight. Behind him, the broken world lay quiet, but ahead, a future was calling.